Welcome to the Smart HVAC Marketing Podcast, the podcast for HVAC contractors who are ready to quit screwing around and begin growing their business. Powered by Rival Digital. On this show, you'll hear from industry leaders and become equipped with the tools and knowledge you need to build a world-class business. Now, here's your host, Eric Thomas.
Yo, welcome back to the Smart HVAC Marketing Podcast. However, today I think we're going to call it the Smart Plumbing Marketing Podcast because we've got a plumbing company joining us today, which I'm super excited about. My name is Eric Thomas. I'm the host of the show. We are live from the Rival Digital Podcast Recording Studios, aka my office. For those of you who are listening on Apple Podcasts, I'm going to go ahead and ask again. Please leave us a review. We would appreciate it. Thanks. And hope everybody, if you're listening to this in the future, which is probably your present, I hope that you had an outstanding Thanksgiving, a great Black Friday, and you stayed safe out there with all the madness and the deals going on. Today, we are joined by Leslie and Brent Harpole from Champion Plumbing. How are y'all doing?
Good.
I had to fight the urge to not say Harpole the way that you told me how to.
Nobody should say it that way.
It works, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah. It's like a little inside
Not
thing
part
here
of our
now.
branding strategy.
Could be.
Today.
Not today.
Well, we've got a very exciting episode ahead of us. We are chatting with a power couple who do a phenomenal job with their social media. And this is something that we've recently kind of tapped into, which is like the whole like Reels thing on Instagram. And I've noticed that they do an awesome job with their Reels. So I wanted to get them on here, talk about some social media strategy, talk about plumbing marketing, talking about all the good things. So I'm not going to sit here and take up too much of the airway. I'm going to let you all kind of introduce yourselves for our listeners. So Leslie, Brent, why don't you all go ahead and introduce yourselves? I'll let you decide which order goes first.
You got
1,
it.
2, 3.
No.
Okay. My name is Brent Harpole, co-owner of Champion Plumbing.
And I'm Leslie Harpole, co-owner of Champion Plumbing. In Oklahoma City.
In Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
Oklahoma City, OKC. Yeah. So tell me y'all's story. From start to now. You got started with the company how long ago, and what's the history of the company?
Well,
It's a good story.
I won't go too far back.
Go all the way back, babe.
We did. We started. Like every plumber or every HVAC guy out there who's working for somebody, think I had this thought that I could do it better, that I could do it smarter, that I could go out and change the world.
Joke's on us.
Joke's on us. Now we've learned quite a bit since then and are doing quite well now. But, we started in 2015. We were basically new construction only. That was kind of my upbringing. Didn't really want much to do with service. It's kind of the way it works in the world. And,
He used to come home and make fun of the service guys in the part house.
Yeah.
And he would
not a real
just
plumber.
He would
It's not a
just
real
say,
plumber.
I would never do service. Never in a million years would I do service.
Yeah. But we got hooked up with some coaching. We figured out, they used to say you're digging in a gold mine, but you're digging in the wrong hole. And we flipped the script. 2019, we went 100% service. I kind of came to the conclusion that I was great in people's houses and that people loved me. And it has worked since then. And we've just focused on 100% service now. We no longer do new construction, and it really changed the course of our lives.
Can I add to that?
Absolutely.
As the observer of how this all played out at the time, that I feel is pertinent. We were in the new construction game for several years, and we dug ourselves into a hole and like really hit rock bottom, which is why we sought out a consultant to help us with our business, because we were basically like emotionally and financially bankrupt. It is a very hard, it's very hard for a small guy with no capital to make it a new construction. And we gave it hell, but
Well,
and then we rebranded. We came out of the gate in 2019. We ran our first service call in March, and it was him. And after that first week, because we were Google guaranteed, we didn't even know what that meant. We just knew we did it, and that phone started ringing, and I kept thinking, why is this phone ringing? And I had a baby on my hip, and trying to answer the phone, and soon learned I need to get off these phones because this is not where my gift lies. But the phone started ringing, and it was like at that moment we were like, okay, now we see how you can really do well in residential service. And we cut off, and I mean, I'm not recommending this, but we burned bridges with all of our builders at that moment. I mean,
including close friends at the time
and family. We're like, we're not doing your houses anymore.
Yeah. Well, new construction, truth be told, is it's just not a good business model for the plumbers. It's a good
any trade.
It's a good business model for the builders. And it just, it just didn't work out. So we burned the bridges and kept pushing forward.
Now, Brent, did you have to go apologize to all of those service people that you had teased in the past? Go make amends.
No.
I would love to hear those conversations at the part house. I would love to be a part of that. When he started rolling up, and we had, from the start, our branding was on point, brand new vans. We sent our guys out looking like we were a $10 million company when we had nothing.
The mindset.
Nothing. And it was like, in my head, when he would tell me about the conversations in the part house, I'm like, I wonder what they think now,
Well, I can tell you, no, I have not had to, because those same guys are asking me for jobs. So it worked out fine.
Yeah. Perception's reality oftentimes when it comes to branding.
Yes. 100%.
You could look like a $10 million company, but, like you're saying, be, kind of deficit growing, but, it's in the eyes of the world, you're the big guy around town.
Yeah, they don't know when when Mrs. Jones calls and he would pull up in their driveway, he had the iPad, the uniform, logo, and providing options on every call. We always had software. I really think that was a big part of our success from the beginning, is we knew personally we are not going to go out there looking like rookies.
Mm-hmm. So what were some of the other challenges that you all kind of overcame when you first went full into service?
I would say financial, because we were, new construction, and I'll just be honest, it put us in bankruptcy. Like, that's how bad it got. And so when we finally were able to turn that around, we did not have investors. Mm-hmm. We did not have anyone give us anything. We could not get a loan. We were just scrappy.
Yeah.
And, every time he had, we knew what it was going to take. We had great guidance, but every single time we had a good week or, a good job, I was like, this money is going here for this. And in the beginning, it was marketing. It is 100%. We paid for marketing before we could pay for anything, because if your phone doesn't ring, and you needed to be taking in more calls than you could physically do. And that's where I see a lot of our peers who were in the same boat. They did not want to spend the money on marketing, and because it's scary. You go from, you had to nickel and dime everything when you're just starting out. When they're trying to get out of a truck, it's very hard, to get that bird's eye view of the business and how it's all going to play out, because a lot of it is just faith and grit,
right. Well, that's true. I mean, it's very hard from, when you're owning the business and you're working in the business out there in the field, you can't do both effectively. You can't work in the field effectively, or as effective as you should be, and run the business. And if you're doing both, I mean, it just, both of them, they both fall short of what you're capable of if you're doing both.
Yeah.
So our one of the biggest pivotal moments for us is getting him out of the truck. Yeah. And we had two guys besides him, and And that was a personal, no, the second guy replaced him.
Yeah.
When we got 2 more texts, it was like, you're not going back in that truck. I don't care if we're turning away calls, you are not going back in that truck. And if that doesn't happen by this date, we're shutting this whole thing down.
Yeah. She gave me a date and said, we're doing it, whether we're ready or not.
Yeah.
But I think that just goes back to, we always had the mentality of a big company from the beginning, and that's why it grew so quickly.
Yeah. Now, did you get to that point before the cutoff date?
That date came and I got out of a truck, and I have not been back in one since.
And it wasn't easy. I don't want to act like nothing has ever come easy for us. So
Right.
Nothing has come easy for us. But when he made that, but he was ready. He was ready to come out of that truck. His body was worn out, and he was ready. And that was game on for us, because at that moment, it's just putting guys in vans and teaching. I mean, we have, the training and a process for everything. But when he got out of the truck, something clicked. That was always the goal.
Yeah. I traded in a pipe wrench for a laptop.
And it was hard. He didn't, for a long time, he didn't know what to do with himself. It was hard. It's very hard for these guys to get out of a truck, even though they talk about that being, it was the same way for our service manager, who he's another master plumber. When he got out of the truck, it's almost like part of their identity is taken away. Yeah. And they go from blue collar to white collar running a business,
Yeah. So what were some of the challenges you faced, Brent, when you got out of the truck and into the office more?
Well, that's pretty easy. I'm not great on a computer. I'm better now. I'm still not great at typing. I'm still a pecker. And I probably always will be, because I'm not going to go take a typing class now. But the truth is managing all of the different kind of attitudes and different personalities is one big thing. Another thing is downtime. I mean, when you're out in the field, it's constant work. But when you finish one, it's move right next to the next thing. And in running the business, you're waiting on other people. You're waiting on things. I need this to get this done. And and so your time management, I felt bored in the office a lot. I felt like my hands were idle and I didn't have anything to do. And so that was a real struggle for me in the beginning.
Yeah, I think that's the moment when a lot of business owners pick up golfing.
Right. Yeah.
So I know a challenge that a lot of folks face when they decide I'm getting out of the truck is, you're putting, the fate of your company in the hands of your technicians or your plumbers. What was that experience like when you took your guys and said, all right, you guys are full-time now, expected to go do every job as I would do?
Right. Well, that's a real struggle, because even today, sometimes you get the feeling of, if it's going to get done right, I have to go do it myself. Yeah. And so, just letting go of that trust, and trusting, letting go of the control and trusting in other people to go out there. And that's really just about teaching them what you want done and how you would want it done. And
empowering them with giving them the right training, expectations and processes.
And truth be told, that's still one of the hardest parts in owning a business, is finding the right people, and people that you can trust, and people that are hungry, and people that want to do this because they love it. That's the hardest part for not just plumbing or HVAC, but a lot of businesses around the country. It's just the most difficult thing is finding the right people, and people that want to stay, and people that want to put their heart into it,
Yeah. So how do you go about setting expectations with plumbers when they first get started with the company?
Well, it's fairly simple.
They know what their expectations are.
Yeah, we've got the processes in place, and they get to hear me talk on a weekly basis, just reminding them of all of the daily things that I expect, and me kind of portraying that this not only has to do with your paycheck. but it's the company name. I mean, we're looking to put out there not just good plumbing, but exceptional customer service, and teaching these guys, whether you get, tech A or tech F, it doesn't matter, because each one of those guys is going to show up and they're going to look the same and they're going to do the job the same. And it's a repetitive thing that when it's done correctly, all of this works like a well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
And I will add to that, it's really important to us as owners to take care of our guys and we want our guys to make money.
Yeah, I want them to be the highest paid techs around.
Empower them to set up long-term wealth for their families. And, we're constantly looking at different ways to spiff them or reward them. And so there's just always that balance as the owner and trying to figure out, how do we do this with, how can we empower them and monitor their behavior, I guess.
Well, it's right. It's a constant give and take. I mean, it really is. Yeah.
Yeah. So when it comes to being able to offer that type of future, you have to make sure that you have a steady flow of jobs. You have to make sure that you're, picking the right jobs for them to go to, so they're not filling up their schedule full of, really just, small ticket items, but giving them the best available jobs to go to that produce revenue for you, and so that you can pay them better. And part of that comes back to marketing. Like we were saying at the beginning, it's kind of an unknown thing that you all went into, head first, 110% into marketing. So what are some of the things that you all have done in marketing that have just been overwhelmingly successful?
Want me to talk?
You can take it.
Okay. So, right out the gate, Google Guarantee, we built our business on that, like in our first year. It's super successful here. Part of our culture, though, is our guys have to ask for a review. That happens automatically and seamlessly. So we're constantly getting consistent reviews. So beginning it was Google Guaranteed. Then later on, I think I have a lot of opinions about this, but we had the calls right away with Google Guarantee. That allowed us to invest in SEO. And then after we'd had some time, and I really immersed myself in all things marketing the very first year because we didn't have any money. And you get a lot of people in your DMs and calling you, trying to get your business, and you don't really know any different, right? So I had to really research what was going to work for us, and not what was going to work for someone in a different market who had been in this for a while. So what we did, and I stand by this, is we were able to get calls right away with Google Guaranteed a couple of years ago. That allowed us the cash flow to, after that, start looking at long-term strategy. And so back to Instagram and TikTok, that is something we just started doing end of year last year. And I will say, it would have been great to find a marketing company that can do all of these niches, but they can't.
Yeah.
And so we have someone who handles our GMB. We have someone else that handles our LSA. Now we're doing a little bit of PPC. And then I have a social media strategist. She is not affiliated with Home Services. I found her through a friend, and she just kills it for us on TikTok and Instagram. And how we use that is not for demand leads. It's not like a call to action. It is building trust. It's long-term branding. And that's one of the ways we use it. We also have PR. We have a PR company, and those two kind of work together for our long-term, besides giving exceptional customer service in the community and referrals and all that. I'm saying we hired someone who she has that is her niche, and she kills it. I mean, it is crazy since we started doing TikTok, and I don't know if you're on TikTok. I didn't know anything about TikTok until a year ago. And it's been around for a while, and my niece gives me a hard time, but Jen, our social media strategist, she'll go, hey, I need you to do this, this, and this. will do it, and we don't do it that great. And most of the time, it's me making him do something. And it's just funny the type of like ripple effect we get with that. Even in the houses, like people have spoken about it while we're in the home, or other people in the community, other business owners. So that has been very successful, but that has just been us finding the right person who is really smart in that area, because that's not us.
Yeah. Well, and it's just, it's just another avenue that now, like she said, in the beginning, you're looking for your phone to ring now. We're just now finally getting to the point where we're looking at long-term longevity, all of those things. And so this is something that's come up over, like she said, in the last year, and it's been fun doing it.
And it's so funny. I don't know if you're in any of the groups on Facebook. It's probably better that you're not. It's a lot of noise, but every once in a while there will be someone in there go, "What about TikTok?" And a row of bros will say, "Oh, they can't afford me if they're on TikTok." And in my head, I'm like, you don't have a clue what you're talking about. I bought 10 things off TikTok in the last week. None of them were cheap. And if you're not where the eyes are, and statistics shows like how up and coming TikTok is, you're painting yourself into a corner.
Well, we just don't live in the world of phone books anymore.
Right. And people tend to look at Google as a phone book, and it's certainly an important part of what we have done, and it has allowed us to do other things. But I really feel like digital marketing companies have dropped the ball. If you are not on TikTok and start looking at how people are buying and what they're seeing, that's like, if I'm Erin Thomas, I am gonna immerse myself in TikTok and learn that, because it's the next thing,
Noted. So I have TikTok. I just watch them. I've been making reels though. Like we have someone that comes to our office, kind of like what you're saying. Like he comes to our office like on Fridays, and he just has a list of stuff, and he's just like, we'll just be sitting here working, and he'll just be like, "Yo, Eric, come on, you got to come do this real quick," and I'll like sit on a couch and like do something funny and then get back to it.
But they work together also with the YouTube Shorts. I don't know what it is in the universe, but all three of those work together, and you can repurpose those on both of those channels.
Yeah, I posted my first reel on like my personal Instagram the other day, and it got 3,600 views in the first hour. Yeah. And all I was doing is I was like, "Hey, if you're starting a business, here's the first 3 things you need to worry about for your like online presence." And it was like, it wasn't like I was on there dancing or doing anything crazy. I literally just pressed record and said, "Hey, you want to do this, this, and this, and you got it." And then people were going crazy on it.
Well, and it's weird because sometimes Jen will be like, "Have you seen how many views we've gotten on that reel?" And it'll just be something so random and that we didn't even try that hard. We have one of our service manager, and it was taken several months ago, and it hit over 300,000 views 2 weeks ago, and for no reason. It's like you can't measure it with common sense. Like, why did this one do so well? But I think people just turn a blind eye to it, and probably because it is overwhelming. Reels, Instagram, even Facebook, how they're using Facebook, and definitely when you throw in like TikTok and YouTube and all that, it is overwhelming as a business owner, and it's a full-time job. And so, but I really believe like in the past year, that's the best money we've spent toward our branding than anything else, because just from feedback we're getting in our own community about it.
Very true.
Yeah. So what kind of content on like TikTok and Reels have you guys used that was just really well received?
Well, I think the educational ones are always do really well. Of course, you got Timmy the toilet that everybody loves.
Timmy is funny.
And then the trends. I mean, there's always the trends that come around, and and they're only good for a few days.
Right.
Each trend comes and it's only around for a few days, and then it's the next trend. But the trendy ones, I think, always do fairly well.
And if someone asks a question and I don't know what this is called, if someone asks a question in the comments and we video reply to that, because she'll send us stuff and go, "Hey, will you do a video on this?" Those seem to do really well.
Which goes back to the educational.
Yeah. Ken Hale agrees. He said your TikTok page is cool.
It's a full. and people talk about it, and I cannot, and I will not take credit for our TikTok or our Instagram. It is our strategist. She's brilliant. We're blessed by her, and she takes it very seriously. I mean, and sometimes, most of the time, we don't even, and if I'm being honest, she probably hates us because she'll send me something and I'll ignore it. And she'll ask me 5 times and then I'll say, okay, because it's constant. I mean, you have to be flexible and willing to do some of this stuff because it's very important. Part of our branding is we're locals to the community. So you do see our faces. Now, everyone may not want to do that, but you have to get yourself out of your comfort zone. And at first it was really awkward and uncomfortable, and now we just don't really care.
I mean, I know
if you're on TikTok, people are crazy on there. So
there's a few out there that I look like a complete.
But we just don't
okay.
care.
Yeah,
I guess what anyone thinks because the reward is greater, you know?
Yeah. The dancing TikToks.
Hey, Lindsay. She's my friend.
We have the ability to share a screen on here. I'd love to watch some of these.
Oh my God. You did not tell us you were going to do this, Eric.
Like I said, there's really no script here. We kind of just
we're getting pumped right
now. No. Not quite like the time we punked Claire from Company Cam, which I feel bad about that. So we reached out to some of her employees or some of her coworkers and like had them prepare some funny questions to like ask her.
We can't hear you right now.
Interesting. When I shared my screen,
we can. It's very yeah.
Oh, really? When I shared my screen, it I guess I lost it.
When you
that,
it changed your mic.
Interesting. All right, we're gonna play a video. Which one do you guys think is like the best? That one that you've done so far?
The truck one. The serve. I love that. The transition on that was so good.
Interesting. I love it.
That was part of our B-roll from Yellow Dog Creative, and we had them come in because now we're on commercials and stuff, and they're phenomenal. Yellow Dog is phenomenal. Yeah. She went in and created that off of that footage.
Really?
That's really cool. If you know
anything
about TikTok, that transition was so smooth.
Yeah.
It was so good.
I probably could not figure out how to do that. That's why I need to go learn how to do it. I know I get ads on TikTok for TikTok transition apps that you can download and it'll do the transitions for you.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really like Tammy the Toilet. Whose idea was that?
Jen's.
Yeah. Really?
It's so funny and ridiculous.
But that's the thing, there's got to be like a persona, like a lot of contractors out there will have like a mascot. Like when we had Martin's heating and air conditioning on here, and there's just like an alien.
I love that.
Yeah, because they're like out of this world, and it was like all like Martian themed, and there's just tons of people out there who have mascots, and they're all really cool, and it's cool to have like a brand personality, even.
Right.
Right. It's so funny because one of our friends on TikTok on his birthday, he asked Tammy if he could get a shout out for his birthday the next day, and she gave him a shout out. Did you see that?
I did, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Tammy has Tammy done like any duets with people?
No, but she should. I'll put that request in.
That'd be a good one. You know how sometimes you come across someone obviously if they posted something on TikTok or Reels or something that I don't know, they were just being stupid and they were just pouring something down the drain or flushing something, and then Tammy could duet it. And
I love that. I'm gonna let Jen know we've got a request for Tammy to do a duet.
Yeah, there's a guy.
Future 2022.
Yeah, there's a guy I follow on TikTok. It's Clint from IT, and it's his entire TikTok personality is being an IT guy, and he's always duetting people who are just doing crazy stuff on the internet, and he's just like bashing them for breaking the IT rules.
Well, I know Jen is really good about following Clean Talk. I don't know if you're on Clean Talk. It's about cleaning your house. And they're always recommending these crazy hacks for like your toilet and or disposal. And she'll text me and she'll be like, can we flush this? And I'm always telling her, no. I mean, you can, but it's going to cause you problems. And so she will go in, and I can think of one time I don't know if it was a duet though, that she was like, don't do this. Don't do this. We're always just telling people, don't do this. Stop flushing your wipes. I had someone get really crappy with me on a YouTube video of me telling them not to flush wipes. I mean, hateful, calling me names.
I mean, why does it say flushable wipes on them if you can't? I mean, you're not supposed to flush them, but why does it say flushable wipes?
Well, it's because it's a marketing tactic for the wipes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all it is. Yeah.
Don't do it though.
Don't flush your wipes, folks.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. Yeah, isn't that like a TikTok trend, or like don't do it, don't do it, I'm gonna do it, or something like that. Yeah. See, I'm hip too. I watch them sometimes. So other than the TikTok and the Google Guaranteed and the some of the other stuff you're doing, what has helped with building the brand over the past few years?
Definitely our logo. And the wrap trucks, the wrapped vans.
Yeah.
It's like a billboard going down the highway.
And like, I'll put that logo on anything. So, I mean, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, can I put that on the shirt I like? Can I send it to people? We really try to do things in the home. Like, we give out dog treats that have a champion logo, and our techs love that. Cool. Our customers love that. We do follow-up email marketing. Where we come from is really like, first and foremost, is like educating the customers. We're not broke fix, so we always provide options and educate the customer. And I think that really helps build trust within our community.
And now we're running commercials. I've been getting a lot of messages about seeing my commercials on TV. We've got billboards. It's just, I think it's just trying to put our face and our logo out there on as many things as we can. So it's that repetition. So when something does go wrong, they remember that logo, they remember that name, and we get a phone call.
Well, and I think, just trying to like dumb my way through this, we're active in our community in that, like, if you go to our website, we support several ministries every month, and that's who we are. I mean, first and foremost, as a couple, and who we are and what we believe is, we're givers, and we give back. Portion of all of our proceeds every month go back to the community in the form of these ministries that we support. And I think a lot of people know that. We're trying to do better about making, like, our PR company is really working with us on talking more about that. That's a hard thing to talk about. But I think just when you give and that's your attitude of abundance, I just think that that's what's worked out for us. I really don't know how else to put that.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I believe doing that from the beginning and making sure our hearts were pointed in the right direction of why we were doing this business, it has kept us in the right direction, and we've been blessed by that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Because honestly, when we were, and I say this, and I think it's crazy, when we were Google Guaranteed and we were a one-man show, we were in the top 3 of I would drive around and get in the parameter so I could search plumber near me, and we'd be 1 or 2. And there's no reason that should have happened, because we had 5 Google reviews. Right. And we were competing against people who had been in this market longer and had brand awareness. And I just believe it's like the attitude of abundance.
Yeah. Well, we definitely are in the season of giving with the holidays here. And speaking of Thanksgiving, we have one last little segment that we do at the end, little this or that. We're gonna do Thanksgiving edition. It's because Thanksgiving's tomorrow. If you're listening to this in the future, I hope you're over your food coma by now. We're going to do a little this or that. And so how this works is I'll ask you guys a series of some stuff, and you just tell me which one you prefer. So we're going to start easy. Thanksgiving edition. Everyone knows the rules. First one up, turkey or ham?
Turkey.
Yeah. I like ham on like rolls.
I mean, I like them both, and I would eat both.
Rolls.
I would eat both, but if I only get one, I think turkey has cemented itself as a tradition.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. All right. Hash brown casserole or green bean casserole?
Hash brown
Hash
casserole.
brown casserole.
Oh yeah, I'm with you there. The hash brown casserole from Cracker Barrel. Yes.
We
good.
only order Cracker Barrel. We don't cook anymore. We get
That-
the whole meal.
Okay, Sophia, when you're listening to this in the future and you're editing this, I told you I was literally telling Sophia this morning about Thanksgiving when I was a kid at my dad's. We used to always go to Cracker Barrel and like get our food from Cracker Barrel.
Yeah.
See?
I'm gonna pick
It's
it
common.
up in a couple hours. They're gonna put it in my trunk.
And
tomorrow.
it's so
We're gonna
easy,
heat
and they
up.
make it easy. You just put it in. They give you
Delicious.
the instructions. You put it in the oven, and you're done. No dishes.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh yeah. The hash brown casserole from Cracker Barrel is something else. All right, next one. Stuffing or mashed potatoes?
Ooh,
Stuffing.
stuffing.
Yeah.
This is difficult because I like all of these things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Potatoes too.
I like all of it, but
But stuffing is, that's another one that cemented itself as a staple.
Yeah, stuffing.
all right, green bean or
Dressing.
corn?
Is it stuffing or dressing though, Eric?
I go stuffing.
Okay.
What do you guys
We'll
call
have
it?
to ask Cracker Barrel what they do.
Yeah.
Was this cooked inside of the bird?
Was this cookie? Right?
All right, green beans or corn?
Green beans.
Green beans.
Yeah. I like corn.
We're
I think
so in tune with each
you
other.
guys are
Corn has no nutritional value.
Are y'all a couple or something?
I mean,
And you
I
know
feel
what? I'm
really cemented in our relationship right now.
if we can just take this way off track. I'm a plumber, so I've seen corn.
Okay, stop it. Nobody wants to hear about that.
Okay.
All right, a few more. All right, we're gonna move over to the. Actually, we got one more here with rolls. Hawaiian rolls or the like the yeast rolls, like the Sister
Hawaiian.
Schuberts.
Yeah, definitely the sweet Hawaiians. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I love the sweet Hawaiians. I'll eat. I already know I'm going to eat too many of those tomorrow, so probably 4 at least. All right, moving on to desserts. Looking at the pies: apple pie, pumpkin pie, or pecan pie. This is a 3-way one.
Apple.
Wow, you got. I promise, folks, if you're listening to this, I did not prompt them on this. They did not know this was coming.
We're gonna fight right after this.
Yeah. All right, that was our last one for this or that. So that is kind of carrying us towards the end of this episode. Leslie and Brent, thank you all so much for joining me today.
Thanks
Eric.
for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's a good way for any of our listeners out there to hit y'all up and learn more, or to check out your reels?
You can follow us on Instagram. It's called The Champs. I think TikTok is Champion Plumbing, and our website is called The Champs.
Callthechamps.com. All right. That is all for this episode. Again, thank you all for joining me. I hope you have a great rest of your day and an awesome Thanksgiving.
You too. Thanks, Eric.
Happy holidays.